proud to see him play. Lute Olson, and he just squeezed in the gym a few times to see him play, and convinced him that he ought to stay right where he belonged, at home, to play for the Wildcats. He went on to become an All-American in Arizona in 1988 and 89. His jersey was retired here on March 6, 1996. All-time leading scorer in Wildcat history. He went on to a spectacular NBA career, including a World Championship with the San Antonio Spurs in 1999. Please welcome Sean Elliot.
So many great things have been said about Coach Olson, and I just want all of you to understand it's not every day that you get to talk about somebody that means so much to you in front of so many people. It's an extremely difficult thing to do. But I guess I can start off with a few stories. If I told all my stories, it would probably take an hour. As you all know, I think you all have heard the stories where I called Coach Cheap because he was cheap as a coach. Bailed him out a few times. One of my most famous story is the time that I bailed Coach out. He calls me. He needs somebody to come to speak for him at Rotary. I come and I speak for Coach. He's driving me back to practice, and we're driving by McDonald's. I say, Coach, I look at him, I'm kind of hungry. He looks at me, you haven't eaten? I say, no, Coach, I'm hungry, So Coach moves out a $20 bill out of his wallet. At the time, it's a whole lot of money to me. So I'm like, all right, I get a couple cheeseburgers, a Coke, I'm doing math in my head, I'm making a change. And Coach Olson, in one move, just gives me the 20, says, bring me my receipt and my change. I said, good grief. We're winning games, this guy can't pass me a 20? What's up with that, Coach? Look at that change. How about Judas Priest? You guys know that word. That was like the worst word Coach ever said in his life. We hear Coach mumbling under his breath and says, he had to say something. He had to say that word, no. Judas Priest. Judas Priest. Cut off the baseline. Judas Priest, what are you doing out there? I thought the first 2 years of college here, I thought Judas Priest was my first name. But more importantly, there are times, and being a player here, and I'll give you a great example. One day, on this side of the court, and things weren't going my way. I wasn't having a great day at practice, and I think our team just lost a competitive drill. And I got the ball and I chucked it from that end of the court, probably down in the tunnel. Like I was not happy. And so I think a lot of coaches around the country will let their player get away with that, and it's Coach Thompson or Coach Brown or Coach Biller, one of those guys is running to get the ball. Coach yelled at him, let him go get it. That was a major milestone that no one ever saw, because as big as I thought I was, as big as I was getting in my head, Coach brought me right back down to size. Also the first coach to ever tell me that if I didn't play hard, I wasn't very good. And I'll never forget that. He told me that if I didn't rebound, he couldn't play me. He was the first coach to ever be critical of me. He was always honest, and he always gave me a healthy dose of tough love, which I still need from time to time, which is out of my life. But on top of that, Coach gave all of us, and the players know this, incredible basketball foundation. I remember my first 2 years in the NBA being shocked at practice because we would go through shell drill, and all you guys know the shell drill. You know that drill, you could run in your sleep. You wouldn't pay any attention to practice. We'd run shell drill practice for the Spurs, and there were guys with big time programs. They get all the accolades and all the hype in the East Coast of the Midwest, and they couldn't run shell drill at half speed. We ran shell drill every single day, it was hard. If you made a mistake, coach was all in you. And we had guys from other programs, NBA players, veterans, who didn't understand that drill. That was alarming to me. Most of all, with Coach, I have to say, besides the accolades of the championships, all the trophies, common denominator of coaches in relationships. Bobby Olson, when you talk about influential people in my life, I have to put my mentor, Bobby Olson, on the same pedestal. You guys have all heard about double pancakes. I think those were an NCAA violation. They were as good as cash. You don't buy anybody a car, there was no money under the table. Those apple pancakes, I'm telling you, they were crazy. There was something you had to taste to believe they were that good. And when you see all these guys come back, one thing that Coach has given us these enduring relationships. From Pete Williams, I've never played with Pete. Never had a minute on the court with him. Every time I see Pete Williams, we hug like we played 4 years together. I see guys like all these young guys like Andre Iguodala, Lute Olson, Richard Jefferson, and the success they've had. And when we see each other on the court, on calling the game, I see those guys, we always treat each other with lots of love and lots of respect. And that's what Coach Olson is about. Right person. And when we all graduated here after that 88 year and 89 team, we used to make excuses every year to come back to Tucson and get together. You know, we all wanted to see each other, but more importantly, you know, we wanted to be around Coach. He was the common denominator. There were days when we were at his house till 1 or 2 in the morning, doing all kinds of crazy things, jumping in the swimming pool, acting like savages. And Coach was right there with us. Those kind of things you take with you for the rest of your life. The enduring relationships that last, the friendships, those are the most important things. When I look out here and I see the faces of the guys I played with, those guys, man, there's nothing. There's not a championship, there's not anything anybody can write or say about you that can replace the relationships and the good times we've had here. And I really want all of you to remember, and I heard it said earlier, I really want all of you to remember when you leave this building today, what this man has done for all of us. Players of this city. I grew up in this town. My first Arizona basketball game, I started off in section 114. And I ended up on the second row. It's a true story. We were playing the Oregon Ducks. We were 1-17 that year in the Pac-10 conference. And that night, the Ducks looked like the Wildcats, and the Wildcats looked like the Ducks. And Coach Olson came in and changed that. I don't want any of you to forget that, but I won't. Thank you.